Howdy folks, well, coming to you once again from lower level world headquarters in beautiful suburban Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And I think this hopefully will be the last iteration for this thing. This is what we settled on for an outside shape. You may remember what we started with, and it more or less tries to imitate that. This is the inside, and I feel that the bottom is out of proportion with the top, but decided not to do anything about it because I would have had to remove the bark and thus this white border that goes around it, which I thought perhaps added something to it. One thing for sure it adds to it is weight, but I guess we're just going to have to accept that. So like all these projects, at some point, you know, you reach a point of diminishing returns. There's not much more you can do to it that would make it sell any better or command any more revenue. And so I try to tell the upper management, our revenue is fixed. These all sell for zero. So it doesn't make any difference how many you sell. Any number times zero is still zero. And so they've reluctantly acceded to that. Pretty hard to dispute that. Anyway, what I'm going to do here today, I've got it sanded up, and there again too. You can only sand so much. I'm sure other people do a lot more. I've got to the point where, you know, to me, sanding is somewhat overrated. So I'm going to put this in the four-jaw chuck because we'll probably want to turn this while we apply some of the sanding sealer to it. And so another project just about complete, although it'll take a couple more days by the time we we'll put the sanding sealer on it today, seal it up good, and then this is just to give you an idea what it's going to look like. And then there'll be several coats of tung oil and probably a coat of wipe-on poly, and so it will be a little shinier than it appears here, but this will be the basic look. I apologize, you aren't going to be able to see there again with our limited camera budget. You know, what we need is an overhead camera that would shine down on this, and you know, one with remote control. So if I didn't have a camera crew, which doesn't appear like I'm going to ever have, I could, with the remote, I could zoom in and zoom out and kind of highlight some of the work. But that's not likely to happen. I've been led to, been told that, you know, to forget it, and quite frankly, to quit harping on it, because it's not making the board of control feels like it's making them look bad. Heavens, that's the last thing I want to do. Some of my best friends are on the board of control, but I have to admit that there are times when I feel that they're pretty short-sighted. But after all, they're you know, they're only human, and I try and take that into account I don't mean to judge them, but I'm sure that's the way it comes off, and there's a segment on the board that doesn't appreciate my comments. So I got to be careful. I can't stand much more of a budget cut. Of course, there again. Well, I won't go into that, but we don't have a whole lot of budget to work with. I'm sure you're aware of that. So here I am just rambling on. Like one of the board members told me, you just get out there and ramble on, happy as if you had good sense. And I said, well, I think really it's kind of important that the people that view this channel think that I do have good sense. But that's a subject for another time, and whether or not I do or not, the board and control, and that's exactly what they are. They're in control. I'm just one of the worker bees that try to come down here and make some wood chips and try to produce revenue. Most of the revenue that I produce is in the form of goodwill. So I think we can all appreciate that. This sanding sealer is, I don't know, sometimes, basically I like it. It's really stinky. Has a real sharp odor, but it's kind of heavy, and this thing has a lot of cracks. That's to be expected. This is a end grain turning, so it's like you're working at the end of the log, and cracks kind of get filled up, and we may be able to take some cosmetic measures to fill them up a little bit, but most of all, it's just like, well, kind of just like the good Lord made them, and a lot of times too much trying to fill them in, and then you get stain marks from the stuff that you filled them in with, and then you got to sand that off again, and then probably fill them up again, and so it's kind of a procedure that there really gets to be where you wonder if there's ever any end to it. So that's why what I say, at some point you begin to realize that well, this is about as good as it's going to get, and most people are not going to examine it as closely as you think they might, and so we try and get the sealer kind of worked into some of the cracks. piece of walnut. So the heartwood is a dark brown. It always seems to me that if you got a little sapwood, the white, it sort of sets the brown off, and I kind of like it that way. So I try to save some of the white in the course of. So right now I'm trying to get some finish into all the little cracks and crevices that may be down there. The next step here, probably tomorrow, although this will dry fast, will be to sand this off lightly and then begin to apply coats of tung oil, which is a more permanent finish, and put about probably 3 coats of tung oil on this. It'll be pretty shiny, and then we get that done. We'll get some wipe-on polyurethane and so that's all there's to it. It does have, I think it does have some nice graining, and let's see if I can get it off here without dropping it or I don't know if I can do that or not. Can I? Here's kind of what we're looking at. So there you go. It's sort of a bowl rising from a trunk of a tree, from a log of a tree, or some kind of a vessel. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll hope to see you the next time. Thanks a lot.